What's up, YouTube? And cheers. So I found out that I wasn't throwing away the certificates of authenticity. It's weird these Heineken cans are skinnier. I love Heineken though. What a great Dutch project. Or is it Swedish? I think it's Swedish. Let me see if I can find that. Alright, doesn't matter. Alright, so you can see here, I've touched a decent amount of gear from Witchdoctor Zero. I feel like I have a pretty decent understanding of the design DNA, kind of. We're actually revisiting this guy, which was the Springfield Slim. Here we go. And I'm actually going to use the pointer because this is going to be a slightly technical. Let me get this just right. All right. So, as you can see, the lanyard hole right here is beneath this piece, which, as you maneuver it, as you will, it's going to give you like a kind of like a hinge. You're just gonna, it's the way that it ends up kind of laying in your hand. You don't feel the restriction if you were, like, as if you were choked up more. Although it's not necessarily bad. This bulbous end helps you keep it in your hand, and also I'm sure it acts as a kind of counterweight. It is a cable jack. The cables are stiff. Like, it is not, there's no really give to it. You can see that the leather kind of follows and gets down onto that cable right there. When this came to me, it kind of seemed like the inside piece had rotated in here, and so it looked weird. So I broke it in really well and put a bunch of oil and wax on it. I also carry this basically all the time. I think, you know, blackjacks are just so mean that it makes me really, really like them. And what I mean by that is, I mean, would I necessarily take it to work? Depending. If I was in a corporate environment, I'd take a sap though. But it's just that, you know, this thing is, it's just crazy how hard this is and how hard it hits. As far as like kind of micro terrain, you've got this big seam that runs up and up and up and up. And as you can see here, this is not, there's no seam because this is folded over onto it. And then we've got what it turned into basically 2 points. And believe me, you can really feel those points. So what that means for the user is that when you got this locked and ready to rock, it'll probably fall like this. Slaps will be kind of flush with the piece, and stuff like this, or, you know, getting them on that. You're going to get them with the horns, kind of, so to speak. And I think that's where you'll see some of like the cutting and slicing. Some people get really, really, really excited about, which to me is weird. I understand it's a part of the design, especially with swivels, but it doesn't make any sense to be excited about that. Except that it is kind of cool. It is kind of cool. I'm not trying to bag on anybody. I'm just saying, though, it would be like if I brought my police baton, my asp, and like, 'cause I got the big one and I got the nice one, and it's like having a lightsaber, And I was like, wait till I hit him with the pommel. That would just kind of be a non sequitur. Like, why would you use the pommel? You can see where this leather has already been stretched and kind of molded. See the steps up here. This is the biggest version of this. I'm assuming there's one like this and then one like this, because that's what the measurements say. Obviously, this is going to be, you know, the longest, the heaviest. And that's not always the case with saps. In old movies, you'll kind of see, like, say they accost the hero on a train, and you'll see this slowly slide out of somebody's hand, and then they just wreck the guy. These also come really, really small, and he makes them much smaller. I think that they would be just as effective. You might have to put a little bit more muscle behind it. But with this one, like, it's one, this is especially, you're going to have to be careful with this one. With the warhead, the striking face of it being so long, I think that you could really see this, creeping up, past and back the hairline or up around the orbitals. Stuff that you're going to want to be really conscious of, so you don't put somebody in the dirt if you don't mean to, if you don't want to. What would be nice is that if you got this to line up with the jaw flush. What is also very nice is that, perpendicular strikes are going to be a lot easier. There's a lot of, say this is the jaw, this is a jaw. So that bringing it up, that classic Blackjack sap move of bringing it up into their chin is going to work great. The leather is super duper nice. Mine is a lot darker. Well, I don't say a lot darker. But these come really moisturized. I don't know if you actually need to like put a bunch of stuff on it. Probably not. You'd probably be just fine. The reason that I do it though, so I'm not hard on my gear, but I'm not babying the gear. So I walk around with this in my pocket. I go on long walks at night. I fear no man. That's the truth. And I don't carry a piece because honestly, at some point, unless I'm fighting a armed opponent that is like seasoned, what I've got, the only thing that's going to trump it is me getting caught in the open by a rifle or somebody with a pistol that knows how to use it. Pistols, it kind of gets iffy because, people want to turn them sideways and that just doesn't work. They can be iffy to shoot. And a lot of people don't, we always get told don't use Kentucky windage, but as soon as you're in a situation like that behind a pistol, it's all Kentucky windage, good to go. There's no such thing as a well-placed shot in combat. These are things that are myths created by Hollywood and believed by people that have never been in the shit. Not that I saw a bunch of action or anything, but I just, if you can't do it while someone is shooting at you, then you can't do it. That is the bottom line as far as training goes. So I would minimize the cute little tricks that everybody seems to learn from internet people that decided to skip class permanently. Skipping class at the dojo. Or the dojang in my case. Super duper nice piece. The stitching is super duper nice. Nothing has come loose yet. And I mean, honestly, to break in my saps, or blackjacks too now, I have a couple drinks, and then I'm just like I go Bruce Lee, minus the key-ups, because I just can't, I live around people. Honestly, I feel like people would think that something bad was happening, because I don't make any noise. And current events, things are a little bit wild where I live right now. So, the give, I mean, you're going to be able to whip this dude into somebody's face. And on it, I could see this, like me whipping it like hard. I'm just saying, up into somebody's forehead, you're going to have to be so careful in some instances, in some areas. Obviously, if it's going down, if you actually fear for your life, or if people are jumping you, as soon as people are jumping you, I'm going to go ahead and tell you it's okay to fear for your life. You don't ever need to get jumped. No one ever, you know what I mean? That's why Kyle Rittenhouse walked. Like this, in America, there is no duty to get your ass kicked. People that jump other people, they're fair game. You can't do that. That is, in and of itself, inherently, whether your very myopic knowledge of how fighting works allows you to understand that if one or more people are jumping you, your life is in danger. It's like the kind of reminds me of the DAP guys, Dads Against Predators. They catch predators like Chris Hansen style. They beat them up. It's just so good. But one of them got shot. I think it was Sean. I'm not sure. I forget their names. Not Mundy, and the veteran, the Army veteran. You know, Mundy said after the fact, every time we go to one of these stings, our life's on the line. We don't know these people. These people don't know us. And we're catching them trying to do the horizontal Macarena with minors. Like, the stakes go up for that person. I'm just saying, there's going to be certain instances where you are no longer constrained by this great duty and obligation to be benevolent with how you apply force. Getting jumped is one of those. Active shooter situation is one of those. And everybody thinks of a mass shooter when I say that, but I mean, go to Chicago and you're gonna see a whole different kind of active shooter. Riots, stuff like that is where I would probably just have this in my hand as I walk around. But it's where it just is what it is. It's where you are things are heightened. You're not necessarily having to go to such lengths. But, I urge you guys to get a plan, right? Make a plan that involves your gear and how you're going to use it. For mine, I always apply mace. That's the first thing. After that, honestly, I probably have, if I have this on me, or something gives me a reach, I'm going to have that out. If I can't get to it, I'm going to have my knuckles out. It just is what it is. So, look, I want to urge you guys to be safe. It's called it is jurisprudence, right? It's the law. So we have to, we talk about sometimes WROL, without rule of law, SHTF, shit hits the fan scenarios. There's just going to be times where, somebody pulls out a knife or breaks a bottle and it's like, I'm going to hit you as hard as I can with this thing. And whatever happens, happens. This is where you're going to have to train a little. This is where you're going to have to gain that experience. That's the real world hard knocks part of fighting. And that's not something anybody can teach you but yourself. Obviously, you're going to have instructors, but you practicing is how you learn. You watching somebody do a couple of moves, that's not anything. It's just amazing to me that, like, if we were to go to a ballet school, it would be like, whoa, look at this dedication. Look at what all they do. And then we go to, like, the EDC world, which, like, granted, I get it, but... And it's like, people don't even want you to have your hands up. It's like, what are we doing here? Bottom line is, this is a great tool in a already stacked arsenal, but I really like it. and I think that it would pull my bacon out of the fire if it needed to be pulled out of the fire. Much like the other one, I just, this one has a very neat little place in my, repertoire of beating people. But yeah, no, I would just, again, you don't want to end up bashing somebody's head open if you don't mean to. You want to mean to apply that force, and you also want to look up whether you need to render aid after you hurt somebody. If they're not hurt that bad, I'd probably do it. If not, I don't know. But that's this thing in some states. So, yeah, it's not as easy as just stabbing somebody in the face like a crazy homeless person, right? Like, that's not even how that encounter would start. No fight that isn't an assassination starts with somebody walking up and allowing another person to stab them in the face. That's ridiculous. In the future, I will be not only picking up seconds from, as in, in the knife world, they're called seconds. Much the same. There'll be a defect. I'll pay like $50. I just found this on the website. I don't know how I didn't see that before. And I may pick up a cable jack before that because I feel like this is like a more agile and lithe cable jack. I would like to see how beefy a real one is, like a big one, a normal one, not the slim one. But I mean, listen, this I really do try to impress upon people watching that this thing is like a crowbar. Whatever you hear with a crowbar is going to break. So, yeah, that's all she wrote for this one. Thanks for sticking with me to the end. Hope you folks have a good rest of your day.